What is up guys, Scarp80 here, and today bringing you guys another Clash Royale video. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can have the almost perfect deck, a really good one, how you can make your own really good deck, and that way it is really balanced. It is able to counter other decks, most of the other decks. I mean, of course, sometimes your deck is just going to be able to do nothing against a different kind of deck. But yeah, I'm going to show you a really good way of how you can build your deck in a way that it can counter a lot of the decks that people are using, especially in your own arena level. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Now, there are different kinds of troops in this game, and a couple of those troops are, for example, the long-range troops, the tanks, the regular troops like the mini P.E.K.K.A that do damage just directly in the night, which the knight kind of counts as a tank. For example, we have the musketeer and the archers, which are long-ranged. The spirit goblins can also be counted as long-ranged. And then we have the Valkyrie and the knight, and the hog rider and the giant that can be counted as tanks, as well as AoE troops, the Valkyrie and the bomber. So we also have the fast troops, which would be the prince and the goblins, and we also have the buildings, which are like the goblin hut, the inferno tower, the cannon, the bomb tower, the Tesla, anything, you know, the mortar even. But the mortar, I guess it's being used more of as an offensive building than a defensive building. So when you're making a deck, you want to find a balance between lots of all of these decks. I'm really going to say this a lot, but if you just throw all of your epics or the ones that you think are your best cards in your deck, it's not going to be a really good deck. It may win you a couple of matches, but I mean, honestly, you're probably going to end up losing most of them. So for a deck to be balanced, you have to have a little bit of everything. That way you can counter most decks. So for example, in this battle deck, I'm lacking an AoE troop, which is probably something we could fix again with the bomber instead of the archers or something. But again, it's a pretty balanced deck. We have the tanks in this deck, which can be the giant and the hog rider. We have the distraction. We have the regular troop. We have the other distraction. The zap is just a direct damage that can be used to stun. And then we have the long range troops. So this can be a very balanced deck. I mean, I guess the bomber might be a little bit better instead of the archers because it's also long ranged, but it also does area of effect damage. So you know, that's a change that you're gonna have to make. The more you battle, the more you'll see, oh yeah, I really needed an area of effect troop, and that's when you would change it. And a perfect deck is one that is made with little modifications every here and there. Alright, so in this deck, we have the tanks, which are, for example, the hog rider, the Valkyrie, and then we have our distractions, we have the bomb tower, we have our direct damage, we have our spell, which isn't a forced thing, but it is a really recommended thing. We also have, again, the skeletons are a really great distraction. We have the bomb tower, which is, again, an insane distraction, and it goes through barbarians like if they were cheese and it was melting it. But yeah, the bomb tower is really good, especially against spawner decks as well. You don't know how many battles I've won to spawner decks because of this bad boy. But yeah, it's probably gonna get nerfed. I really don't want it to get nerfed, but yeah. Then we have the minion horde and the barbarians, which can be used for offense and for defense. They're really good troops by themselves, but if you pair them together, the minion horde and the barbarians, they can be unstoppable unless the opponent has something like a fireball or arrows or something like that. But if they're caught off guard, they can be really good. So yeah, that's another thing that you have to have in your deck. You have to have combinations. So for example, in this deck, I have the minions barbarians combo. But yeah, you can also have some other combos like the hog rider and the freeze, which is also an insane combo. So yeah, to have the perfect deck, or at least a really good one, you have to see that you have a little bit of everything in your deck. And for example, if in my arena right now I was going against a lot of spawner decks, I would throw in some more area of effect. So as you can see here, I have my Hog Rider and my Freeze, which is another insane combo. This is just amazing. And in this, I have quite a couple of tanks. So I have the Hog Rider, which can count as a tank, and it also just targets your tower. When you pair that up with a Freeze at an unexpected moment, it could get dirty, guys. It could really get dirty. So yeah, in every deck you have to have combinations. So for example, in this deck, again, I also have the Bomb Tower. It's a really good defense. I think it's the best defense in the game at this point. Then we have the direct damage as the Fireball. This is also a really balanced deck. We have the Knight also in that deck, which is also a pretty good tank. Alright, so in every deck you have to have tanks. It's not something you can debate against. A deck with no tanks, like, in my opinion, is not a good deck. You have to have at least one tank that can get your troops securely to that tower while it takes all of the damage. Of course. So as you can see, the Hog Rider has over 1,000 hit points, which makes him a tank. The Valkyrie also has over 1,000 hit points, which makes her a tank. The Barbarians have 500 hit points each, so that makes them a tank as well. That's over 2,000 hit points in total. But yeah, we have a total of 3 tanks in this one. In this deck, we have the Giant and the Hog Rider. And then in this one, we have the Valkyrie, we have the Hog Rider. We have the Prince, which can also count as a tank because it has over 1,000 hit points. And we have the Knight, which can also be a tank. The Baby Dragon can also be a tank, but not a really good one. It has 800 hit points. But yeah, it could do a good job as well. Just scrape your tower every once in a while. But yeah, you also need to have your combos. So in this, I have the Valkyrie Hog Rider or the Valkyrie Prince combo, which is an amazing combo, especially because lots of people like to counter these things with skeleton armies or barbarians, and the Valkyrie would do an insane job. Also, because the Prince and the Hog Rider are fast troops, the Valkyrie will get pushed. And we also have something like the Baby Dragon Musketeer, or the Knight with the Hog Rider Prince or Musketeer is also a really good good combo. If left untouched, then they could probably take the whole tower down, and if not, then they could probably take like half the tower down. So in every deck, as you can see that I've been using, it's been a really balanced deck. Like, you don't just want to throw in a ton of tanks in your deck, because then you'll have nothing to defend, and your deck will be pretty expensive as well. And you don't want to have like just plain squishy troops, because then they won't be able to get to your tower, and the opponent will have a really easy time defending. So yeah, having a balanced deck is everything. Don't just throw in what you think are your favorite or best cards, like all of your epics, or just random cards, unless you're doing like a challenge or something. Don't just throw in your cards if you really want to make the best deck. Also, I really recommend that you have a sort of cheap troop in every deck. Now, if you're going for a push and he places a Hog Rider alone, for example, I could place my skeletons and they could do a really decent job of taking down that Hog Rider and maybe saving at least 1,000 hit points from my tower, or like 500, while I am still doing damage to his tower. So as you can see here, I have the goblins and the skeletons, and the cannon can also be a really good distraction against Hog Riders. But yeah, you kind of have to see in the arena that you are in what cards you are playing against. So if I'm playing against a lot of Hog Riders, then I might put in the cannon and then the zap, or the cannon and the goblins, or the freeze, even to freeze that Hog Rider right there. So yeah, these have been quite a couple of good tips that I have thought of for making a really good deck. I hope that these have worked for you. Also, the same, like for example, if a deck works really well in Legendary Arena, it's probably not going to work well down here in Arena 6 or in Arena 5. Arena 7 probably, but for example in lower arenas it's not going to work. Same thing if there's a really good deck in Arena 5, it's probably not going to be really good in Arena 8. So yeah, we're going to hop into a quick replay using this deck right here. and let's go ahead and check it out. Alright, so he's gonna place skeletons just to start off, and I'm gonna place my spirit goblins because I don't want to be full on elixir. He's gonna place a giant on the right side. I don't know why. He just did that. Paired with a wizard, I don't think it's the best combo, but yeah, I'm gonna place my skeletons once the wizard targets my mini P.E.K.K.A. Now we're gonna have a ton of troops going down the right side along with my giant. Now, as you can see here, I have my spear goblins, which are gonna be able to take down the hog rider fairly quickly. And no matter what he places down, he's just not gonna be able to defend against that because I just have so many troops going. The first tower is down, and because I have more elixir than him, I can keep placing troops. I place a hog rider. He's gonna fireball as soon as he can, and his fireball is just gonna completely miss my hog rider, which is hiding in the back. And the hog rider tanking for my archers are gonna be able to get probably the quickest 3 crown I've gotten since Arena 5. But yeah, that was a really good battle. Shows how well a balanced deck could do. Was it luck? Yes. Was it a misplay by his part? Yes. But we probably could have also won with if he hadn't done that first initial move. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this video worked for you guys. I hope that it was useful, that because of this video you are going to be able to make the next best deck in whatever arena you are in. Go check out my other videos. Go ahead and hit a like in this video if it worked for you. Subscribe for more content. If this didn't work for you, then subscribe, because that means you need more. And if this did, leave a comment down below saying thanks, and give me a like, please. But yeah, once again, Scarp80 out. Yeah.